Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaivam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribhajakacharya Ashtotra Sadasri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Janitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Parshatya Deshatharine. The batteries must be inside. Yep. Batteries are inside the charger. Yeah, that one. Yeah, you need to put that in. That's it. Yeah. Okay. I'll turn it on. Need some settings actually. Today we're continuing to read from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, entitled Talks Between Narada and King Prachina Barhi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikhi. Atastat apavadartham Bhaja sarvatmana harim Pashyam stadatmakam vishvam Sthiti utpat apyayayataha. Atastat apavadartham Bhaja sarvatmana harim Pashyam stadatmakam vishvam Sthiti utpat apyayayataha. Atastat apavadartham Bhaja sarvatmana harim Pashyam stadatmakam vishvam Sthiti utpat apyayayataha. Please chant. Sarvatmana harim Atastad apavadartham Maya sarvatmana harim Atastad apavadartham Bhaja sarvatmana harim Sthiti utpatapyaya yataha. Word-to-word meaning, ataha, therefore, tat, that, apavadartham, to counteract, bhaja, engage in devotional service, sarvatmana, with all your senses, harim, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, pashyan, seeing, tat, of the Lord, atmakam, under the control, vishvam, the cosmic manifestation, sthiti, maintenance, utpatti, creation, apyaya, and annihilation, yataha, from whom. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Translation. You should always know that this cosmic manifestation is created, maintained and annihilated by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, everything within this cosmic manifestation is under the control of the Lord. To be enlightened by this perfect knowledge, one should always engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord. Purport. Self-realization, understanding oneself as Brahman or spirit soul, is very difficult in the material condition. However, if we accept the devotional service of the Lord will gradually reveal Himself. In this way, the progressive devotee will gradually realize his spiritual position. We cannot see anything in the darkness of night, not even our own selves. But when there is sunshine, we can see not only the sun, but everything within the world as well. Lord Krishna explains in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita 7.1, Maya Shakta Manah Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayah Asamshayam Samagrama Yata Nyasyasi Tatshunu. Now hear, O son of Pritha, Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. When we engage ourselves in the devotional service of the Lord to become Krishna conscious, we understand not only Krishna but everything related to Krishna. In other words, through Krishna consciousness, we can understand not only Krishna and the cosmic manifestation, but also our constitutional position. In Krishna consciousness, we can understand that the entire material creation is created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, maintained by Him, annihilated by Him, and absorbed in Him. We are also part and parcel of the Lord. Everything is under the control of the Lord, and therefore our only duty is to surrender unto the Supreme and engage in His transcendental loving service. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Srila Prabhupada has spoken a lot on this 7.1 verse from Bhagavad Gita. I just wanted to start off with his lecture transcription of 7.1 Bhagavad Gita. So, to know means to hear about him, because we are not directly in contact with Krishna. Krishna Yoga means to know Krishna, and then we become attached to make connection with him. This is called Sambandha. We must know our relationship with Krishna. That relationship was described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when Sanatana Goswami inquired, "What is my position? Who am I?" Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that every living entity is an eternal servant of Krishna. So here we see how King Prachinabarhi has a good fortune of hearing from the Bhakti avatar, we can say. He is a Shakti Avesh avatar empowered with Bhakti Shakti. So from Narada Muni. So Prachinabarhi recognizes that he has been misdirected by other teachers in spirituality, making him do the karmakanda type of sacrifices and making him believe that that's the all in all. But now Narada Muni comes in and breaks that illusion through an allegory. Then Prachinabarhi's intelligence, buddhi, is now awakened, and now he asks questions related to how does reincarnation happen. So Narada Muni gives a very technical explanation of how the living entity does not give up the subtle body even when it is in deep sleep. And through the concept of dream, how when the gross body is still stable, subtle body goes on to experience good and bad. In the same way, when you die, the subtle body takes you to the new gross body according to the desires that you have. And more technical explanation about how even though the senses don't come in contact with the sense objects, one shouldn't think that they are very clean and pure or liberated. So even a child has got desires inside, it's just that the gross body is not developed yet. So when you have undeveloped senses, that does not indicate that you have no desires inside, it's just a matter of time. Or when you're in deep sleep, you shouldn't think that you're liberated, because the senses are, the subtle body is still active. Then with the analogy of a caterpillar, Narad Muni explained the transmigration of the body to transmigration of the soul to the next body, which is the prime reason being the mind. Nayam janome sukha dukkha hetu na devatatma griha karma kala. Manam param karanamamananti samsara chakram parivarta yedya. Nayam janome. It's not the people around you who give you sukha dukkha, not devata, not the demigods, not your own body, not your own house, not your activities, not the time, griha karma kala, but mind, manam, param karanam. So that was explained in 76, 77, the cause of samsara. You have desires for sense enjoyment, and under ignorance you perform those material activities, and that causes, starts with inclination, then you work on those thoughts which come, which cross by you, and then you focus more on that. Then you develop attachment. Then you actually lose your intelligence. Then finally you end up doing the activity, which again creates another impression. So you're driven by those past impression. But this 79th verse begins by telling how to get out of that cycle of desire for enjoyment and material activities out of ignorance that's caught up in the samsara cycle, which is, the root cause is that of avidya. So therefore, bhaja sarvatmana harim. That's being talked about in this particular verse. Bhaja sarvatmana harim. Start worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead to counteract ignorance. So in his lectures to this 7.1 verse, Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita 7.1, which is Maya Shakta Manapartha, which we just now read, he explains why a living entity should know about the greatness of the Lord. What is the reason? He is a creator, he is a maintainer, he is a destroyer, he is the controller. Why should a living entity know those details? Because if you don't know a person, how can you develop attachment for a person? That was Prabhupada's logical point. Then, second is the living entity is conditioned, and it must know that there is a supreme controller who is all-powerful. That knowledge of the Lord's greatness, as to how great the Lord is and how He is creating, maintaining and destroying this entire universe, how great the Lord is, the greatness of the Lord has to be known. That knowledge has to be given to the living entity so that he develops a sense of awe and reverence and a sense of gratitude towards the Lord. You can't straight away start with love of God. It begins with accepting that there is a supreme authority above me, and He is the one who has created the place that I am living in at the moment. He is the one who is maintaining me by supplying the 5 elements which we try to manipulate, and He is the one who is maintaining us. The Lord is the one who is sending forth the demigods and the process of yajna, and then He blesses, saying, cooperate with the demigods by performing sacrifices, and you will be happy. So, a person who is not straight away able to take up the process of bhakti, but has got some propensity to follow Vedas and follow the rules and regulations prescribed in that to attain a material objective. Still, it is a good starting point. And that's where King Prashannabarhi started before he met Narad Muni. Now he is transformed. So the principle is one has to know the greatness of the Lord, that He is the creator, maintainer, destroyer of this universe. So from greatness begins the sense of duty or gratitude, and from there you begin. So you are willing to follow the scriptural rules and injunctions. Even though you have material desires, you are approaching the Vedas to fulfill them. So it's a sign of piety. So if a person wants to do a yajna, what happens? So he has to call priests. He has to clean himself, put clean clothes. And his consciousness elevates. Compare that with him, the same person, preparing himself to go to a cricket match or to go to a pub or go to a party. What is his consciousness? What is his dress code? And what are the expectations? And look at that same person preparing himself to do a yajna. He is materially attached. He wants to fulfill his desires. So he's going to call priestly people. So in front of them, his good side comes up. He wears clean clothes, he cleans himself, he cleans the house to invite them, invite guests, and the whole consciousness is different, in a different plane. And when they come, when the priests come, he is inclined to listen to them. At least during that period. During that period, if the priests are broad-minded and they are not concerned only with their maintenance and looking to do the yajna just to get the money from this wealthy person, if they are broad-minded, they will share transcendental knowledge with such a materially motivated person. So from there begins the journey for a materially attached person. So from then onwards, the consciousness of the person will gradually change if he takes up to the process. In the purport to this particular verse 7.1, Prabhupada talks a lot about transformation of consciousness, and then the sequence of sense engagement and how you develop attachment. So let's focus on that. So I'll be drawing points from, of course, from Prabhupada's lectures, and also points from His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami's lectures on Bhagavad Gita, and also from a lecture from a devotee from Govardhan Eco Village. His name is Balram Shakti Prabhu. He has talked about desires, which I'll try to touch upon. So in this Maya Shakta Manah Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashraya Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yata Nyashyashi Tat Shrunu. In case of Prachinabhari, it began with the tendency to hear, just hear. So that's what Arjuna is being told by Krishna. Tat Shrunu, just try to hear. So just by that tendency to hear from an authority, your spiritual life begins. So Prabhupada here says, concentration of the mind upon Krishna is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important. Therefore, the Lord therefore says to Arjuna, Tat Shunu, hear from me. So by that, if you look at the translation, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, so consciousness at the top level, mind attached to me. Obviously we know the sequence, the gradation of senses, mind, intelligence, and then the consciousness is on top. So the activities are performed through the senses. We can keep that as point A. The mind and intelligence are higher than that. They can be either spiritual or material. We can keep that as point B. And consciousness is at the top level. We can keep that as point C. Now, when we engage in activities, obviously we are using our intelligence, and that's how we put effort, endeavor. If you look at the 5 factors of success, Krishna explains in the 18th chapter, he explains Adhishtanam tata karta karanam cha pritak vidam vividasta pritak cheshta daivam chaivarta panchamam. So the 5 factors are the body, the senses, the soul itself, and the different kinds of endeavor, and then Daiva is with the Lord. So consciousness, so you must be living in, and then you must be using your intelligence, and then your senses must be engaged in activities. Now if we take this framework of consciousness on the top level, intelligence and mind at the next level, the senses, any activity to be done, this is required. Let's apply this to a materialist. How about you turn off the notifications, Prabhu? Rajaraj Prabhu? Maybe somebody. Turn off the notifications. So if we apply this framework to a materialist, his consciousness is fully based on material knowledge. That's what is driving him. So that consciousness or material knowledge, that is what is driving his intelligence and the mind. And his senses are acting in that way. So consciousness equals activity, because that is what is driving, is manifested in the gross form as your activities. So if your consciousness is driven by material modes or material knowledge, that's what will result in the activities. So what you refer to at the level of consciousness comes out at the level of activity. So if you're referring to material knowledge, and if your consciousness is polluted by such materialistic or scientific way of looking at things, so that's what will manifest. And within that, you could be following morals, or you could be acting immorally. You could be following the state laws to lead a materialistic life driven by all those philosophies. Or you could be driven by the same philosophy but leading an impious life or immoral life by making a livelihood by doing illegal things. So within materialistic, then you have pious or moral or immoral activities. Then comes our person like Prachinabadhi, who is having material desires, but he follows the authority of the Vedas. So his consciousness is not completely pure or Krishna conscious, But still, he has got that buddhi or intelligence to go to Vedas, although his senses are still demanding sense gratification. They are not completely pure, but he uses the Vedas to gratify his senses. Then that activity is said to be pious because he is following the rules. Again, the consciousness is directed by some sections of the Vedas, so that's what you see. You want to see different types of sense gratification. That's what Krishna says, I give you the intelligence. So if that's what you want to see, the Vedas will show you that. Krishna describes second chapter as a forest of enjoyment. One has to come out of it. But if that's what you want to see, that's what your consciousness or mind is going towards. So that's what will manifest as elaborate sacrifices. The activities that you perform based on that is these elaborate sacrifices, which may involve animal killing. Now, because he is taking up the path of transcendence, his propensity to enjoy will gradually loosen, because he is constantly in touch with the saintly people who are giving him advice. Now, as his desire to enjoy is getting loosened, he will ask, or his mind enjoying the sacrifice process itself gets elevated, because sacrifice in itself is a way of purifying. So you become purified gradually of your material desires, but you're still attached to the work itself. You still haven't given up the work. So that's the level of nishkama karma, where you're gradually getting detached from the results, but you're still attached to the work. Your mind and consciousness are not completely pure yet, and your activities are also not completely pure, because the consciousness still is not fully, it's not Maya Shakta, it is not completely focused on Krishna yet, but there is, you are on the right path. Now, as this Nishkama Karma Yogi is carrying on with his activities of doing his duties, slowly bringing in transcendence as the goal, leaving this material world, not having a plan to settle in this material world, that is slowly getting loosened up, and he is transcending, he wants to get out of this material world. So at that time, there's a predominance of jnana. Now the mistake that a person can make at that time is thinking that his consciousness has become cleansed and he can give up the prescribed duties. So that is a mistake, because consciousness is there, then the senses, consciousness is impure at this stage, the senses are active, the mind and intelligence are still not very pure yet. So you're suddenly stopping the activities with an impure consciousness. So Krishna explains that such a case you will still be dwelling on the sense objects because your consciousness is not completely pure. What is the way out of such a mityachara, such a person who is artificially renouncing the activities which are done at the level of senses, but still the consciousness is not pure, which is at the top. So Krishna describes that it is better that such a person engages in his prescribed duties which are meant to purify him. So don't give up activity prematurely thinking that your consciousness is pure, because it is the activities which are prescribed according to your conditioned nature. That is what is going to purify you. Prescribed duties are coming from the Vedas. Vedas are coming from the Lord. So if you prematurely give up your prescribed duties, analyzing this framework of consciousness, intelligence and the senses are active and consciousness is impure still, and suddenly you're giving up activities. So the senses are going to dwell on the sense objects internally, but externally you could be wearing a dress of a renunciant. So that is rejected by Krishna, and he encourages that a sincere person means he understands that his consciousness is still impure and his senses are active, his mind and intelligence are also not pure. So let me engage in proper activities. So that proper activity is the prescribed duty. So one should not give up prescribed duty in an immature stage. Now, prescribed duties, when they are done with Krishna in the center, with pleasing Guru and Krishna as the objective, you are doing those activities. Even though your consciousness is not pure yet, you are taking up the process. You are engaging your mind in the activities related to devotional service, knowing well that your consciousness is not completely pure. So that is when you start to practice Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and Krishna describes that for such a sincere person, I give them the intelligence. So that's when with the intelligence given by Krishna, you are engaging your senses, which are active, which is what we saw as at the lower level, which are impure and active, they are getting active engagements. Simultaneously, your consciousness is also getting purified. So that's when the purification is happening at all levels. Seto darpana marjanam. So the senses are being purified because they have active engagements. So the mind is focusing on the thinking, feeling and willing are all focused on doing a particular service for the Lord. I may not have spontaneous attraction, but I am being told, let me do it as a matter of duty. By that, internally the consciousness is being purified. This is when the sequence of contemplating on the objects of the senses, developing attachment. Now that you are given a field of a spiritual environment and your senses are allowed to come in contact with the sense objects which are all spiritual, and you develop attachment to such spiritual engagements, and your mind is starting to, it's getting some engagement, plus your intelligence is being purified because it is referring to spiritual knowledge, which is how the sequence works. Spiritual knowledge directing the intelligence, and with that spiritualized intelligence control the mind and the senses. So such a Vaidhi sadhana bhakta still has got material desires in them. Still his character is not completely reformed yet. His swabhava has not changed completely, will that disqualify a person who is practicing bhakti? Scriptures describe that bhakti yoga is the only process that allows a person from any social status, any country background, any gender background, without prior purification, even with full of material desires, to take up the process, to start the process. So now we are moving into that section of discussion where we will talk about desires which are driven by your conditioned nature versus the desires which are born, or desires which you want to fulfill as a matter of duty, which is given to you based on a value system. So two things: desires born out of swabhava, or desires born out of your value system or duty based on your faith, Shraddha. Swabhava versus Shraddha. So a person, when starting bhakti or even when doing bhakti, his nature of being not well behaved or rude or crude, those tendencies may not have gone completely. Some swabhava, some nature, as Arjuna himself says, that against my nature I am being pushed to act immorally. What is that force? So if we look at swabhava, which we little bit touched upon, which comes from vasanas, which basically come from improper activities, which come from contemplating on the senses, the whole falling down sequence. So that swabhava itself can have lot of anarthas. At the same time, such a person is not disqualified from taking up bhakti. We don't say that unless you have all your material desires eradicated, we can't give initiation in bhakti process. It's not one of the items that we tick when we apply for initiation. In that case, the number of devotees getting initiated will be drastically less. But what we say is, you take up the process of, you accept that Krishna is my ultimate maintainer, protector, and have faith in Guru and Krishna. So that Shraddha, Dha means give, Shra means heart. So that Shraddha is planted in the heart of a person who has got material desires, whose swabhava is not very good. He may be rude and crude, having some bad habits. That does not disqualify from the Shraddha being implanted in such a person. Now, the directions of the spiritual masters come into place. Okay, you're getting up at a certain period, regulate your eating, sleeping. So he is given a gradual introduction into a value system which is based on scriptures. And slowly his desires will start to go in that direction of seeking those directions given by the value system, which is the Shastras. Because Guru is going to teach based on Shastras, but he brings it down to the level that the candidate can take at this point. Just like we have a concentrated medicine, then there is a doctor who takes the medicine and for the intensity of your ailment, you take this much at this particular period. So that's the role of a guru. So he sets up a value system. When you are following this process, engage in spiritual activities, and gradually your swabhava will change. We don't focus on the don'ts first. As per Prabhupada's strategy, we focus on the do's. Chant Hare Krishna, eat prasadam, come to temple, do service. So the active senses are getting some engagement. If you reflect on, and I did this reflection on my own devotional journey, where initial days, what was the things that I was involved in, what are the type of services that I was involved in, it was more hands-on. And I checked with few other devotees, it matched, like we were given a lot of hands-on services, because at that time the mind and the consciousness, chitta, are not completely pure, but that did not disqualify us from taking a bhakti. So we were engaged in, given a lot of hands-on services by which your body is actively engaged. So take for example, to mop this temple room, I need to start where is the mopping stick, where is the towel, where is the bucket, where is the water, where is the solution to put in it, how much to put in. So all my mind and intelligence are engaged in that, but I am not completely pure. So this is where the consciousness in which you are doing the activity also depends. I could be doing it just like our Prabhu is cleaning the altar now. So the activity is there, then the engagement of mind and intelligence is there, and then the consciousness is there. So let's take one scenario. I could be grudgingly coming and cleaning the temple. So nobody is there, I have to do it. So the activity hasn't changed, but the consciousness is not proper. So the mind could be planning about doing the next activity or getting out and doing something else. Or the second scenario is your consciousness, your intelligence and the senses are in the same line and you are applying the process. So that's when the actual purification happens. Even though the process is powerful, we still need to have to apply. I may not want to do it, but okay, spiritual master has given me at least to fulfill his desire, his words, I'll do it as a matter of duty. I don't have spontaneous attraction like Ambarish Maharaj yet, but I have faith in this person who's giving me this knowledge, who's coming up to my level and explaining the process and telling me. By that faith, just by that desire to please the Lord, if we take this mopping the temple example, every engagement is happening, and in the background, if your consciousness is to please Guru, Krishna does something in the background. Krishna does some creation, maintenance and destruction within you. He is going to plant, he is going to create more seeds of desires inside your heart to do more devotional service, and he is going to maintain those desires by reciprocating with you and giving you more services, more devotee association. That's how we maintain. That's how the Lord maintains the bhakti inside us through the association of Guru and through the instructions. Even if we don't get reciprocation from the Lord, He is still maintaining us by giving us the buddhi to properly do the activities. Because, as I said, I could be grudgingly cleaning the temple, so Krishna from within will give the intelligence. So Prabhupada in his purport says that you are attached to a spiritual institution, you have a spiritual master, still, if you are making mistakes, Krishna from within will destroy the ignorance with the lamp of knowledge. That's what Krishna promises, that my devotee may not be completely pure yet. He could be even committing abominable acts, but he is bhajate mam. If such a devotee continuously engages in his devotional service. His Swabhava may not be pure yet. Once in a while he may engage in some abominable activity. But his Shraddha is strong. He doesn't go to the demigods to fulfill his desires. Whether he has got material desires, whether he has got physical ailments, everything he comes to me. At this point his senses are not controlled. But still, bhajate mam ananya bhak. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. So he does the destruction of the material desires, anarthas. So this is how the Lord is doing creation, maintenance and destruction outside, in terms of creating this sthana, which is the place for us to live, poshana, by giving the material elements. And finally, as time factor, he destroys everything. Whoever has taken birth has to die, but the duty has to go on. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmat apariharyarte natvam sochitum arhasi. So as a person, even a beginning sadhaka who has not completely purified himself yet, when he prays to the Lord to remove the anarthas which are born out of his svabhava, and prays to the Lord to fulfill those spiritual desires that he is simultaneously experiencing and which he wants to fulfill, the desire of his spiritual master, so desire to chant quality rounds, desire to come for morning program, that is the value system, that's what the Shraddha is telling him to do. But he is torn apart by attraction to the opposite sex, not able to control senses, behaving rashly. All that are the anarthas. So a Vaidhi sadhana bhakta has to keep the goal as Lord Krishna, even though he is faced with the roadblocks like which are put forward by the anarthas. What he should not do is contaminate his consciousness with a desire for getting out of this material world, which is liberation, contamination of consciousness through jnana. That's how you get the jnana mishra bhakti. So we have consciousness which is fully on Krishna, which is the topmost, and then we have consciousness, I want to reach, but I want to get out of the world first. That is my main objective. For that I am doing bhakti, which means the consciousness is polluted by jnana. So that is jnana mishra. Or a Vaidhi sadhana bhakta, he is more a hands-on person, he gets things done and he takes up big projects, gets a lot of resources, shows a lot of results. The inclination inside is to show that he is good at organizing, he is good at managing people, he is good at managing wealth. So that karma, so that contamination is the karma mishra. You're doing the activities told by Guru, you're doing the activities told by the authorities, which is all spiritual bhakti, but the karma mishra comes in, the consciousness gets affected by that. The 6 Goswamis, I think especially the Manasiksha is written by Raghunath Das Goswami, I think, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So if we read that, then these roadblocks can, it is like a step-by-step process. So how we get contaminated at different levels is given there, and we can eliminate it. So that's how we need to observe, at least I can say, I need to observe my consciousness as to when it is being polluted by extra additional desires other than to please the Lord. Is it coming from jnana? Do I want to just get out of this world first? Is that my actual aim? But still, I'll pray to the Lord. Akama, sarva kama va, moksha kama. If I want only moksha, okay, I'll pray to the Lord. The Lord, by His sweetness, by revealing His sweetness, He will take away those desires for liberation, desires for yogic perfection, because that is also another form of contamination which will come in, because you are able to influence so many people, so many wealth and power is given to you. You could be directing people's lives. You could be thinking that these are all I'm getting some perfections, so let me aim for more. So that is also another kind of contamination of consciousness. So consciousness, intelligence and the activities. So if the consciousness is polluted at that level, that will affect everything else. So the curve goes like that. If it's at the top is pure, then everything else will fall in place. But if there's any contamination on top, then it affects everything else. So better is to stick to the value system, desires born out of value system, and watch out for the conditioning that creeps in once in a while or often, depends on which stage of devotional life you are in. And for either cases, for fulfilling material, for getting rid of anarthas and for fulfilling spiritual desires which are born out of Shraddha, pray to the Lord. Now, this framework of Swabhava and Shraddha, Balram Shakti Prabhu quotes Jaiva Dharma. That's where the officially it is there. Those who want to read, they can. Because he was giving a lecture on this topic. And the verses that I have quoted from Bhagavad Gita 9.30, 9.31 act as a contradiction existing. Bhajate mam ananya bhak, but he is apised sudduracharo. How could that be? So that's how you see that he has a value system which is given by the Lord, but at the same time he is pulled by the apisetsu, that durachara, it's also there. So the principle is one need not disqualify himself or others for taking up bhakti or continuing to practice bhakti. Other verses that he was saying was about Swabhava, talks about in 3.33 and 3.34 as well. Just read the verses. Now that we know the concept, if we want to know where is it based on Shastra? It is. Even a man of knowledge, this is 3.33, even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature. For everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. So this is your Swabhava. There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion, which is talking about attachment to sense objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion. And then 9.30, 9.31, we discussed that. And we also talked about how the Lord internally does the creation of exposing you through Guru and Sadhus to create more desires in your heart, and He's planting the Bhakti Lata Bij in your heart through Guru, and you also have a responsibility as a sadhaka to maintain that, because Chaitanya Charitamrita verses describe that you have to maintain that by constant hearing and guarding against offenses of Vaishnava Aparadha by putting a proper fence. So that is our responsibility. So Krishna does his part, and we also have to do our part in protecting the bhakti and maintaining the bhakti, and also encourage ourselves when we are blocked by our own anarthas, and encourage others in the path of bhakti. So I will conclude with a prayer by Hanuman and the vow of Lord Ram. So these are a set of prayers from the 5th canto, which talks about how anyone can take up devotional service and how easy it is to please the Lord. So this is Canto 5, Chapter 19, Text 3 onwards is the prayers offered by Hanuman to Lord Ram. This is Text 7. Na janmanu na mahato na saubhagam navan na buddhir na kritis tosha hetu Tairyad Vishishtan Apino Vanaukashas Chakara Sakye Bata Lakshmanangraja. Purport is also very instructive, and even the previous verse. Yeah, so 6 and 7 are pretty inspiring. Navai sa atmat matavatam shuruttamaha Shaktas Trilokyam Bhagavan Vasudevaha Na Stri Kritam Kashmalam Ashnubhita Na Lakshmanam Chapi Vihatum Arhati. Since Lord Ramachandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, he is not attached to anything in this material world. He is the most beloved super soul of all self-realized souls, and he is their very intimate friend. He is full of all opulences. Therefore, he could not possibly have suffered because of separation from his wife, nor could he have given up his wife and Lakshmana, his younger brother. To give up either would have been absolutely impossible. One cannot establish a friendship with the Supreme Lord Ramachandra on the basis of material qualities such as one's birth in an aristocratic family, one's personal beauty, one's eloquence, one's sharp intelligence, or one's superior race or nation. None of these qualifications is actually a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Sri Ramachandra. So whatever can't be achieved is removed. Otherwise, how is it possible that although we, uncivilized inhabitants of the forest, have not taken noble births, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramachandra has nevertheless accepted us as friends. And this is like the next verse is the, what do we call it, icing in the cake. Suro suro vapi atava naro nara sarvatmanaya shukritagnyam uttamam Bhajeta Ramam Manujakritim Harim Ya Uttaran Anyat Koshalan Divam Iti. Therefore, this is Lord Hanuman saying, Whether one is a demigod or a demon, a man or a creature other than man, such as a beast or bird, everyone should worship Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears on this earth just like a human being. There is no need of great austerities or penances to worship the Lord, for he accepts even a small service offered by his devotee. Thus he is satisfied, and as soon as he is satisfied, the devotee is successful. Indeed, Lord Ramachandra brought all the devotees of Ayodhya back home, back to Godhead, Vaikuntha. So in the purport, Prabhupada extend the mercy of Lord Ram to Lord Krishna, to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is therefore represented in the six-armed form of Shadbhuja Murti, which is a combination of Lord Ramachandra, Lord Krishna and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The best purpose of human life can be fulfilled by worshipping the Shadbhuja Murti, the form of the Lord with 6 arms. 2 arms of Lord Ramachandra, 2 arms of Krishna and 2 arms of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is what the devotee who is Maya Shakta Mana, who has got his mind attached to the Lord, that's how he is praying. And as I said, the Lord also does creation, maintenance and destruction within the heart of the devotee. What does the Lord say to such a surrendered person? It is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours. My dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. So from our side, we have to seriously surrender. And you look at the word serious, if you look at the meaning of it, characterized by careful consideration or application. So this is the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, where even though we are disqualified by being a beast or an animal or an unqualified person, but if a person is able to be serious, which means he is carefully considering and applying, acting or speaking sincerely and in an earnest rather than in a joking or a half-hearted manner. So serious surrender is required from our side. Sakrit eva prapannoyas. So that prapanna, if he is from our side, anyone who, even if Ravana comes and tells this, Lord Ram says, I will accept him. Tava asmi iti, I am yours. Yachate, he prays. Dadami, I give. So with this word Dadami, Krishna also uses Dadami. Krishna gives buddhi, Lord Rama is giving courage. So, good combination. Worshipping Lord Ram, we get courage. Worshipping Lord Krishna, we get buddhi. Abhayam sarvada, not just for the period of surrender. Lord Ram says, he will remain safe from that time on. Abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etat. Lord Ram is giving a vow. He is Maryada Purushottam, he doesn't break his vows. So father said, go to forest, no questions. Yes, sir. And he left. So Prabhupada, in some other instance, if a person who has got no capabilities, he is giving a promise, what's the use in it? But if the Lord, who is all powerful, He is giving a promise. So Lord Ram is saying, wow, so he said, He kills with one arrow and He always sticks to His word. One word, one arrow. That's Lord Ram. Okay mata, okay bana. Just one. So such a person is giving a wow. So we should take that as a reciprocation, and we can, this is how the Lord maintains, by giving such, revealing His heart, and in the background destroying the anarthas through the lamp of knowledge. So this is how we can see creation, maintenance, destruction is happening outside, and through the bhakti process is happening inside as well. So I will conclude here. If anyone has got any questions, comments, corrections on what we discussed today. No? Okay. Yes, bro.
Few things I was gonna. What was the reference that you mentioned about the mind is the cause of everything? Right in the beginning, you mentioned. What was
I'll find out for you.
That one.
No, not that one. That is Hanuman's prayer. Na janmadunam mahato na saubhagam. Manam param karanamamananti samsara chakram parivartayeti.
Yeah, that one.
I can probably find out. Nayam janome sukha dukkha hetur. Nayam janome.
Is it Bhagavatam?
Yeah.
What was the word you mentioned? The Shraddha. What was this Dha for?
Da is give, heart. Shra is the heart. So that's why you have Yashoda, one who gives. Yasha is glory, I think. So Yashoda, Kirti Da. So that's why you see the mothers having those names. And Shraddha is, Da means to give, Shra is the heart.
Oh, okay.
Vidyapit Nayam Janome. I think it's 11, 23, 42. Check that. This is, 11, 23, 42. I think this is Song of the Avanti Brahmana. Yeah.
Okay. You also mentioned, and it's like we, as a practitioner, devotees, unless we come to the complete pure, it's difficult to be, to reach, because you go to back to Godhead.
Yeah.
Complete pure, it has to be completely pure. At the same time, the prayers of Hanuman and what they're saying, well, even you do have a little, or even you just come to say, from today onwards, I am yours, and you become mine. So it's like it's kind of.
Okay, going back to Godhead, you need to be completely pure. But here Lord Ram is saying, the prayer which Hanuman is quoting he's referring that Lord Ram taking his, when he was in the planet, taking all the residents back home. But I feel they are two separate things. Like the eligibility to do bhakti, that was what was enforced in that particular verse. Whether you are a demigod or qualified or not qualified, do devotional service. That's how Prabhupada will also translate the prayer of Lord Hanuman. Do little bit of service to the Lord, and that satisfies him. Whereas for going back to Godhead, yes, the complete purity is expected. The emphasis is more on whether you're pure or not, start where you are and do the devotional service. So this Maya Shakta also, Prabhupada will perform devotional service, and then Prahlad Maharaj's prayers about Shravanam Kirtanam in the second half, Kriyate Bhagavati Adya means one has to perform. The Prabhupada in the word-to-word meaning will say one has to perform. So that was the emphasis. So becoming completely pure, yes, it is possible. It is possible to go back to Godhead only if you are completely pure. Yes, that is always there. That requirement is always there. But my emphasis was more on the Lord takes responsibility of cleaning your heart, whereas in other processes, the responsibility lies with you. You are alone in that. Whereas here, a lot of instances, Prabhu was quoting other verses from 11th canto also. Mat Katashu, one who is 11, 20, 27 to 28. Having awakened faith in the narration of my glories. This is fitting of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, is given as a definition of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Having awakened the faith in the narration of my glories, Jata Shraddha Mat Katashu Nirvinna Sarva Karmashu, being disgusted with all material activities, knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, is disgusted, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment. My devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. So that Shraddha, that's what Krishna looks at. He doesn't look at the Apiset, he doesn't look at the Sudurachara, because he knows that so eventually he will become pure. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents such activities. Grahayan, repenting of. So that conclusion at least one must come to, that this world is not for me. I can't make a permanent settlement, I am disgusted, but still I have some lingering attachments which pull me sometimes towards, but I'll be fixed. So in your Shraddha basically should not be shaken, but if that is shaken, that's when you go elsewhere. You turn back, and that's when. So Shraddha, faith and conviction has to be there, even though you have not very perfected behavior yet. So here also the word bhajeta is used, and Prabhupada says he should worship. Prita, remaining happy. Shraddula, being faithful. Dhrida, Nishchaya, with resolute conviction. If you look at the word-to-word meaning of 11, 20, 27, 28. Jata Shadro Matkatashu Nirvinna Sarva Karmashu Veda Dukkhatmakan Kaman Parityagepi Anishvara Tato Bhajeta Mam Prita Shraddhalur Dhrida Nishchaya Jusamanascha Tan Kaman Dukkho Tarkamscha Garhayan. Kaman is a sense gratification. So purport begins, the beginning stage of pure devotional service is described by the Lord here. So that's why this verse is quoted as a verse for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So Kaman refers to sex attraction and its byproducts in the form of children, home, and so forth. And that's how you see that they are all considered as Hridaya Granthi, at the same time, first canto, second chapter, the glories of devotional service, and even the verse we chant daily before reciting Bhagavatam, like Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu. So, in purport to this as he hears about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from devotees, he becomes fixed in devotional service. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus the lust and avarice are diminished. So, thus Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection, that hard knot which is due to sex impulse and attachment to family, wife and children. Bhakti Yoga severs that knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the asamshayam samagram stage. Okay, yes. Yeah, 1 second, we'll give you the mic.
And also you mentioned that it's important the state of consciousness. Perhaps we didn't awaken that spontaneous attraction, but acting because of duty, the sense of duty, then the Lordship of the Lord will create, maintain and destroy within us. So I wanted to understand how that works, Agyata Sukriti in this case. Mainly our preaching programs, for example.
Yeah. So with the creation of the desires, and also the planting of the seed, the Lord does through a spiritual master. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. So that is what I equated as creation. I could be wrong. I mean, others can correct me. That's when you are given that seed. Agyata Sukriti can speed up that process of you receiving it, but lack of Agyata Sukriti does not eliminate a person, does not disqualify a person from receiving the Bhakti Lata Bij. You could be of any caste, creed, gender. That's why Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita itself. Sriya Vaishya Tata Shudra Tepi Yanti Param. So he's not disqualifying anybody. Anybody can take it up. In Bhagavatam many verses. So Agyata Sukriti will help one speed up the process of getting the Bhakti Lata Bij, but it does not eliminate a person. So in terms of maintaining, by reciprocating, and by giving more service, you're praying and you're getting service, you're getting the Lord's mercy through His prasadam, so that I categorized as maintenance. And lack of reciprocation also, He is maintaining us by correcting us in doing activities with the proper consciousness. So that's why the consciousness framework I explained. If I could be doing temple cleaning in a grudging way, so I won't get reciprocation. So what is the point? So then Krishna, from within, He will give the buddhi, saying through the teachers, saying that do the activity with the proper consciousness. It's like trying to plug things into a power. I don't turn on the switch, nothing comes. It's a small step, but it's a crucial step. So that's why consciousness is not turned on properly. I could be doing the activities, I won't get reciprocation from the Lord, but I classified that also as a reciprocation through Krishna giving the buddhi, dadami buddhi. Hey, you're doing the activity, why don't you do it with the proper consciousness? So that I classified as not reciprocation of the Lord, but by giving the buddhi, and by that He is maintaining us. So, and then destruction, of course, cutting the hard knot, destroying the ignorance with the lamp of knowledge. Yeah, so that's how I classify that. Is that okay?
I understand that it works for those who are starting the process, but what about for those who didn't? And it's for the reason mentioned in the possibility and cycle of action.
Those who have not started yoga, bhakti yoga itself.
And our teaching is based in some way that, for example, when we go to book distribution, the fact that people even touching your book would consider that it's part of awakening or purification process, or taking prasad without even not knowing what is prasad, or I guess it's in that way. Is that correct for people to break that cycle of action and reaction?
Breaking the cycle of samsara, they have began the process. Now, will starting the Agyata Sukriti through bhakti, will that break the samsara? In that case, that's when I feel the preachers have to play a more active role to cultivate them, to take on from where they are at. They have taken the Agyata Sukriti, now we need to follow up and give more Agyata Sukriti, more and more. Then only it doesn't automatically straight away break. You have started the process, but unless it is followed through and they are given more exposure to bhakti. So that's when I said the preachers can look at this framework of what is attracting the people. Are they at the level of active senses? Then expose them more to that holy name or temple service. So depending on the inclination of that person, you engage them in that particular devotional service. But just that starting point alone, in my opinion, will not break the samsara cycle. You have just begun it. But the good thing is, whatever they have done, it's not lost. Because that's what Krishna promises, Neha Vikramana. It's not going to be taken away from them. They won't lose it. But that alone, unless it is followed up by the devotees and they take it up seriously, it won't break the cycle of samsara. Causeless mercy, okay.
I've been told that the case of Prabhupada Maharaj, his previous wife, he overnight, whole night fighting with his wife in next lifetime. He was awake in the galaxy day, not knowing there's a galaxy and things. The next life, he's Prabhupada Maharaj. So how that works?
Yeah, okay. Grantharaj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.